everybody, in this video I have a mixed media scrapbook process to share with you with the Thompson's Craft Supplies design team using the July kit. This is, as I just said, a mixed media layout. It's very mixed media heavy. So I am taking this Kaiser craft paper, and if you saw my kit share video you would know that I was very torn about this paper because the reverse side is a cut apart, and I am a sucker for a cut apart, but this side with, you know, the shoreline and the beautiful turquoise ocean, I had to use this one. So I'm just putting a layer of clear gesso on there because of all the mixed media I knew that was going to go on there, and setting that aside to dry. I am going through a lot of my Kaiser Craft stash. A lot of it is nautical and beach themed, and just choosing some bits and pieces to use. So that cut apart you can see there, that was actually in a previous kit from last year, about this time last year, that I didn't end up using. So I thought, well, I can't use this cut apart because I'm using the other side, so maybe I can use this one that I found in my stash, but I don't actually in the end, but I had it available. But I was also going through those ephemera packs and just sort of, I wasn't getting bits out at that stage. I was just sort of using the time to go through them and familiarise myself with what was in them, sort of thing, because some of them I haven't looked at in longer than I care to admit. So once my paper was dry, I did take the heat tool to it. I didn't just wait for it to naturally dry. I'm taking this stencil. It's actually supposed to be dragon scales, but I feel like it looks kind of like net shipping, you know, fishing nets. So I've taken that and I'm stenciling on some Nuvo hybrid ink in the colour Polar Ice, just for a really subtle bit of colour in the area where I'm going to add all my picture embellishments and stuff. You can see the picture that I'm scrapping in the top right there. It's a picture of my nephew at the beach, or one of my nephews. It's quite a few years old now. I don't actually know exactly what year this was taken, but I know it's a good few years old because he is much bigger than that now. But I thought it would just go really nicely with this background because you've got the blue and then the sand. You can't really see the sea in this photo, you can just sort of see a bit of it, but it had that same blue and then sand, and because it was a different blue from the background, I thought it would work really nicely. Anyways, I was going through my stamps there and pulling out some of my more nautical themed ones. The one with the ship and like the musical notes is a Prima stamp that I got from Thompson's Craft a long time ago. I don't think she has it anymore. And then the other one I'm using is a woodware stamp, that sort of nautical knot. I personally wouldn't recommend it. I find woodware stamps look beautiful on the shelf, but then when you go to use them they're not the best. But for background mixed media stamping, it's fine. I was using Stays On ink there, by the way, just obviously because it's a non-reactive ink, so I knew I could throw all the mixed media at it and the ink wouldn't run. That large net stencil, again from a previous kit, it's like a highlights reel. This layout, I just using so much stuff from previous kits, and I just did some modelling paste through that stencil, again in that sort of area where I'm doing all my work, sort of like it's about two-thirds of the way down, then a little bit going down as well in a sort of cross-ish pattern. Anyways, here I am going through that ephemera that I was going through earlier and choosing some bits and pieces that I thought would work nicely with my layout. And then I also pulled out some of those chipboard pieces, which are Fabrica Decori pieces, again from the kit. Not using loads of them on this one, just a few of the florally ones and the leafy ones. So here, once my modelling paste was dry, I am taking that paint from the kit, which I haven't written down the name of. I've totally forgotten what it's called. It's Fabrica Decori, and it's this beautiful light pink tropical gold colour. It is absolutely gorgeous, and I am just using a paintbrush and painting all that stenciling I've done there. Just very haphazardly. Like, I'm not trying to get it exactly on where I've done all the stenciling or anything, but I didn't want to mix that paint in with the modelling paste to stencil it that way, because just you would lose that beautiful shimmeriness and it would tone down the colour too much. And I didn't want to stencil straight on with the paint because I wanted a little bit more texture. So that's why I've done it this way. You may think it's a bit of a faff to paint it, but it took 2 minutes, if that. Then for backing my photo, I'm just using parts of one of the cut apart Minte papers sheets from the kit. Now it's a 3x4 sort of cut apart size, so I sort of had to do slightly bigger and then rip them, so you haven't got like a whole frame or shape behind the photo, but you've got bits of colour sticking out, and then I really distress the edges of that, just, you know, for all the texture and yummy things like that. And I'm propping that up on a bit of foam with my Prima 3D Gloss Gel, which is the adhesive I use throughout this entire video, I believe. So I'm taking the raffia or straw from the kit and just taking little bits of it and then bundling it up, tying it in some places, just sort of wrapping it around my fingers, tying it up a little bit, so you've just got these nice bundles, and doing 3, I think, of those, and just propping them underneath the picture, using a cup there just to keep it down. It's not a dirty cup, by the way. I just realised you can kind of see inside it. I had literally just finished a cup of tea, so that's why it looks like it's dirty inside, because anyways, just thought I needed to point that out. Anyways, with those all bundled underneath there, I'm playing around with my chipboard and where I'm going to put that. And then once I was happy with that, so I've got some bits under the raffia, some bits over it. It's not coloured yet because, and you may think, Grace, you should probably colour that chipboard before you put it down. Yeah, but I just wasn't sure at that point what colour I wanted it. I wanted to put more embellishments down to figure out what colour I wanted the chipboard, and I don't mind painting it by hand rather than just, you know, slapping paint on it at all. So, you know, as I said, I just waited. I actually kind of like the way it is just plain, but later on that doesn't work. You'll see. But what I'm adding here, you see I've got these 3 little pots which are all full of shells and little starfishies and stuff, and I'm just adding loads of those. I've got the pot that's on the far left has all the little shells, the pot in the middle has the slightly bigger shells, and then the starfish on the right. So I've just added some of those here and there, nestling them in amongst the straw and the chipboard. And then once those are down, I'm trying to remember what I did next. Oh, I remember. So what I'm gonna, oh no, I totally forgot about these. These are those little glass bead things. You can buy them from Prima and proper craft companies and stuff, but I tell you what I do is I buy them on eBay and buy them as, like, they're advertised as being for putting in fish bowls. It's decorative for goldfish bowls, so that's why I buy those glass bead things, get them in all kinds of colours. Obviously I thought the blue ones would look particularly nice on this layout. Then I am using some of this deco topping from the kit, something I've never used before. I just put little splodges of my gloss gel down for it to stick to, and I'm using this tiny little scoopy spoon thing just to pour little bits of it on here and there. It's basically, I don't know if it is coloured sand, but it's definitely the texture of just coloured sand. So I thought that would look good on this layout. I was going to just do the pink, and then I was like, actually, I think it looks a little bit better using the pink and orange just because it's nice bright colours. The photo is very bright, and like my nephew is wearing quite a bright t-shirt in there, and it's more, I don't know, boyish? That's not really the word I want to use, but you know, just that's what I was going for. I left that to dry for a few hours naturally, because obviously putting a heat tool on that sandy stuff, blowing it all over the place, not a good idea. And then once it was all dry, I tipped it off all the excess. I think I did that off camera, and then I just used a brush to brush any excess away. And then here I am painting the chipboard. I just decided to use that same paint from the kit to colour that because it's just nice and subtle. It was close-ish to that colour of the background, and I just thought that was the easiest way to do it. Originally, I had in my head that I was going to spray them blue with the blue spray from the kit, but then I thought, yeah, no, that's going to be a little bit too much. And I'm really happy with the way those look with that shimmery paint. I know I said this before, but it is so very pretty. So I'm just doing some really close-up spraying with the spray from the kit. Close up in the way that I'm just right next to the area where I want to spray, so you only get really small areas of colour and you've got more control over where that colour's going to go. I just didn't want to spray it all over and then just have a wash of blue. I did not think that would go right. And then adding my ephemera bits and pieces, as in like the cardstock or paper bits and pieces. I've got that beach time thing for my title, something that says sandcastle, dreams are made of sun and sand, just all sorts of bits and pieces like that. These flowers, again, these are from the kit. I've just chopped they're all on one sort of stem thing, and it's just plastic, so you can just chop it with normal scissors. I actually took stem out of the middle because I thought it would look prettier to use a Nuvo Dropper or something like that in the centre of the flowers. So those have just gone down around there. What am I putting down now? Oh, yeah, I felt that there needed to be a bit more at the bottom of the photo because it was a little bit top heavy at this point. So there was just that little waves piece there, and then another little phrase or sentiment. I think it says, "Find your bliss here," just thought that would work. And then again, I'm bringing in that beautiful paint, and where there's lots of paint just gathered in the lid, I am spraying a load of water in there just to make it nice and runny, and then using that for splatters, and they make really, really lovely splatters. Like they're that right amount of thickness that you can see them, but not too thick that they're too textured and stuff. So I was very happy with that decision, is the point I'm making there. Once I've done splatters with those, though, I thought I just needed to bring in something else splatter-wise, because I don't know, there needed to be something else, and white was the obvious answer to that. So I'm using the Distress Spray Stain in Picket Fence to add the white splatters onto there, and then just slightly moving my photo cover just to put a couple of splatters around the edge of the photo just to make it look a little bit more natural. And then of course I had to add some Nuvo Drops. So I'm adding Jewel Drops in Sea Breeze, which they're an obvious thing to use here because they look like little water droplets. And then after I've added those, I think I'm going to go in with, my list says, oh, the Stone Drops in Chalk White. And a lot of the times where I added these, I didn't really add them as drops. I was sort of filling in a lot of gaps where, you know, there was a gap between a glass bead and the straw or chipboard or something. Just wherever there was a gap, I just used the Stone Drops to fill it in. And then I also did some basic ones around, like splattering out from that big embellishment cluster. And then I just used some bubblegum pink drops to put the centre of the flowers there, and then the layout is complete. So there we go. Thank you so much for watching. As always, links to this kit, to Thompson's craft supplies, etc., will be in the description box below, as well as any other products that I've used and can find to link. Please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Someone slammed a door right at the end of my voiceover to ruin it. Thank you for that, and I am going. Thanks again. Bye bye.